In a world that mistakes noise for substance, the greatest transformations happen in the cathedral of silence. Look around you. Everywhere people are shouting about their achievements, broadcasting their every move, demanding recognition for the smallest efforts. They have confused activity with accomplishment, visibility with value. But here's what they don't understand. The most profound changes in human consciousness occur not in the marketplace of public opinion, but in the sacred sanctuary of the inner self. Consider this question carefully. What would you become if no one was watching, if no one was applauding, if your only witness was the mirror of your own consciousness? The answer to this question holds the key to a power that few discover and fewer still possess. It is the power of silent growth, the art of building yourself quietly away from the hungry eyes of the world in the fertile darkness where true strength takes root. Throughout history, every great soul who has walked this earth understood a fundamental truth. External manifestation is merely the shadow of internal reality. The sculptor does not create the statue, he merely removes the excess marble to reveal what was always there. The farmer does not make the seed grow, he simply provides the conditions for the life force already contained within to express itself. This is the ancient principle of inner alchemy, the understanding that all genuine transformation begins in the unseen realm of thought, intention, and disciplined practice. Like a seed that must first decompose in the darkness of the earth before it can burst forth into the light, your greatest self must first be cultivated in the silence of your own being. The ancients knew this secret. They understood that the visible world is but the final chapter of a story that begins in the invisible. They recognized that true power flows not from what others think of you, but from what you think of yourself when you are alone with your thoughts in the quiet hours before dawn. Today I want to share with you 6 pillars upon which this ancient wisdom rests. These are not mere techniques or strategies, but fundamental principles that have guided the development of human consciousness for millennia. They represent pathways to a kind of strength that cannot be taken from you, a confidence that needs no external validation, and a peace that surpasses all understanding. The first pillar is silent study, the cultivation of wisdom through disciplined learning. This is not the frantic consumption of information that characterizes our age, but the patient, contemplative absorption of truth that transforms the very substance of your being. Like a master craftsman who studies the grain of wood before making the first cut, you must learn to study the grain of life itself, seeking understanding in the silence where wisdom whispers its secret. The second pillar is contemplative action, the art of moving with purpose while maintaining inner stillness. This is the difference between the frantic activity of the masses and the purposeful movement of the master. The archer who draws the bow in perfect stillness before releasing the arrow understands this principle. External action becomes powerful only when it emerges from internal calm. The third pillar is invisible service, contributing without seeking recognition. This is perhaps the most challenging for the modern mind to grasp, conditioned as we are to seek credit for every small kindness. But understand this, the root system that nourishes the mighty oak remains hidden beneath the earth, yet without it, there would be no tree. Your greatest contributions to the world may never be acknowledged by others, but they will be eternally recorded in the ledger of your soul. The fourth pillar is inner dialogue mastery, controlling the conversation with yourself. You are engaged in the most important conversation of your life, every moment you are awake. Yet most people have never learned to be the conductor of the orchestra of their thought. They allow random melodies of fear, doubt, and distraction to play in their minds, wondering why their lives lack harmony and purpose. The fifth pillar is solitary discipline, building strength when no one else knows. This is the private gymnasium of character, where integrity is forged in the fires of personal choice. What you do when no external authority is watching reveals the true measure of your strength. The blacksmith, who forges steel through repeated, solitary strikes, understands that true strength is built in the silent hours of disciplined effort. The sixth pillar is patient cultivation, growing without forcing, timing without rush, like a gardener who tends the soil season after season, trusting in the eventual harvest. You must learn to find satisfaction in the process itself. The modern curse of impatience has destroyed more potential than any external obstacle ever could. But why do so few discover these principles? Why do the masses continue to seek their strength in the fleeting applause of others, rather than in the eternal silence of their own souls? The answer lies in understanding the modern trap of performance. We live in an age that has turned life itself into a theater, where everyone is both actor and audience, constantly performing for the approval of others. Social media has created a generation addicted to immediate feedback, measuring their worth by likes, shares, and comments. They have become slaves to the opinions of people they've never met, seeking validation from strangers for choices that should be guided by their own inner compass. This addiction to external validation comes at a tremendous spiritual cost. When you live for others' approval, you abandon the very center of your being. You become a hollow shell echoing the sounds of the crowd rather than resonating with the deep tones of your authentic self. You lose touch with the still, small within that knows your true purpose and highest potential. The ancients would have called this spiritual suicide, the killing of the soul through the worship of false gods, the false god of popular opinion, the false god of social status, the false god of external achievement divorced from internal development. But there is a way back to the authentic self. There is a path that leads away from the noisy marketplace of public opinion and into the quiet sanctuary where your true power dwells. This path requires courage, the courage to be misunderstood, to be underestimated, to work without recognition, to grow without applause. This is the liberating truth that will set you free. Your deepest development happens away from the crowd. Your greatest insights come not in the midst of social interaction, but in the solitude of your own contemplation. Your strongest muscles are built not in the gymnasium, where others can see, but in the private moments, when you choose discipline over comfort, growth over stagnation, purpose over pleasure. The foundation of silent growth rests on a fundamental shift in motivation. You must learn to distinguish between ego-driven achievement and soul-driven development. The ego seeks recognition, credit, and immediate gratification. The soul seeks truth, growth, and lasting contribution. The ego measures success by external standards. The soul measures success by internal standards. When you choose the path of silent growth, you are choosing to align yourself with the deeper currents of existence. You are choosing to trust in the ancient law that governs all genuine development. What is built in secret will be revealed in power. What is cultivated in silence will manifest in strength. What is nurtured in darkness will bloom in light. This is not a path for the weak or the impatient. It requires the wisdom to see beyond immediate circumstances, the faith to trust in unseen processes, and the strength to continue when no one else understands what you are doing. It requires you to become your own teacher, your own encourager, your own taskmaster. But for those who have the courage to walk this path, the rewards are beyond measure. You will discover a confidence that needs no external validation, a peace that no external circumstance can disturb, and a strength that grows stronger with each passing day. You will become a person of substance in a world of shadows, a source of light in a world of darkness, as of wisdom in a world of noise. The question before you now is simple but profound. Will you choose the temporary satisfaction of external validation, or the permanent strength that comes from building yourself in silence? The choice you make will determine not only who you become but what you contribute to the world. For in the end, Those who build themselves quietly in the sacred silence of their own souls become the very pillars upon which civilization rests. They become the light that guides others through the darkness, the strength that supports the weak, the wisdom that illuminates the path for generations yet to come. The foundation has been laid, the principles have been revealed. The choice is yours. Will you join the ranks of those who have discovered the secret of silent growth, or will you remain among the many who spend their lives seeking in the noise what can only be found in the silence? The answer to this question will echo through eternity. Choose wisely. Choose today. Choose silence. Now that we understand the principle, let us explore the practice. Each pillar represents not merely an activity, but a way of being that transforms the practitioner from within. These are not techniques to be applied occasionally, but sacred disciplines to be lived daily. The first pillar stands as the foundation of all others: silent study. This is the cultivation of wisdom through disciplined learning. But understand clearly what this means. We live in an age drowning in information, yet starving for wisdom. Every day, millions of bytes of data flood our consciousness, yet how many emerge wiser than they were the day before? The sacred library within you awaits your attention. Knowledge becomes wisdom only through silent contemplation, through the patient process of allowing truth to settle into the deepest chambers of your being. The ancients understood that reading without reflection is like eating without digestion. The nourishment cannot be absorbed. True study requires you to move beyond the surface consumption that characterizes our time. You must learn to read not just with your eyes, but with your entire being. When you encounter a profound truth, you must sit with it in silence, allowing it to work its transformation within you. Like a master craftsman who studies the grain of wood before making the first cut, you must study the grain of wisdom before attempting to apply it. Here is the practice. Choose one significant text each month for deep study. This should be a work that challenges your understanding, that stretches your consciousness, that demands more than casual reading. Read in complete silence, without the distraction of notifications, music, or external stimulation. Keep a private journal of insights, recording not just what you learn but how it changes you. Apply one principle daily before moving to the next. Too many seekers collect wisdom like trophies, accumulating knowledge without transformation. Better to master one truth completely than to know 1,000 superficially. When you have lived a principle until it becomes part of your very nature, only then are you ready to embrace the next. Through this discipline, you transform from an information consumer to a wisdom cultivator. You develop the ability to extract the eternal from the temporal, the universal from the particular, the profound from the mundane. You become a person of depth in a world of surfaces. The second pillar is contemplative action, the art of purposeful movement, while maintaining inner stillness. This principle rescues you from the epidemic of mindless busyness that has infected modern life. Most people confuse activity with accomplishment, motion with progress. They rush from task to task, meeting to meeting, experience to experience, yet arrive at the end of their days feeling empty and unfulfilled. The master archer understands this principle perfectly. Watch him as he draws the bow. Every movement is deliberate, every muscle coordinated, every breath controlled. But at the moment of release, he achieves perfect stillness. The arrow flies true not because of frantic effort, but because of centered calm. This is the difference between activity and meaningful action. Activity is reactive, driven by external demands and internal compulsions. Meaningful action is responsive, emerging from a place of inner clarity and purpose. The person who has mastered contemplative action moves through the world like a dancer, each step flowing naturally from the one before, each gesture aligned with a deeper rhythm. Begin each day with 10 minutes of silent intention setting. Not planning, not strategizing, but connecting with the deeper purpose that should guide your actions. Ask yourself, what is trying to emerge through me today? What is the highest use of my time and energy? How can I serve while remaining true to my authentic self? Approach each task with full presence, rather than multitasking. The modern world has convinced us that dividing our attention makes us more productive, But this is a dangerous illusion. When you scatter your consciousness across multiple activities, you rob each one of the power it deserves. Better to do one thing completely than 10 things partially. Create rituals that connect your daily activities to deeper purpose. Before beginning any significant task, and remember why you are doing it. How does this action serve your highest development? How does it contribute to the greater good? This simple practice transforms routine into sacred work. End each day with reflection on aligned actions. Review your choices and behavior. Were they expressions of your authentic self, or were they driven by external pressures and internal compulsions? This honest assessment allows you to course correct before patterns become entrenched. Through this practice, you transform from reactive living to conscious creation. You become the author of your life, rather than a character in someone else's story. You discover that true productivity comes not from doing more, but from doing what matters with complete attention and pure intention. The third pillar is invisible service, contributing without seeking recognition. This principle strikes at the very heart of the ego's hunger for acknowledgement. Most people serve others only when they can receive credit, only when their goodness can be publicly displayed. They turn generosity into a performance, kindness into a brand, service into a strategy for social advancement. But understand this profound truth: the root system that nourishes the mighty oak remains hidden beneath the earth. No one sees these roots. No one praises their silent work, yet without them there would be no tree. The roots do not seek recognition. They simply fulfill their purpose with quiet dedication. This is the power of anonymous contribution. It builds spiritual strength, precisely because it requires you to act from pure motive, rather than mixed motive. When you serve without the possibility of recognition, you cannot fool yourself about your motivation. You discover whether your generosity is genuine, or merely a sophisticated form of self-promotion. Identify one way to serve others without them knowing it was you. This might be paying for someone's coffee anonymously, leaving encouraging notes where struggling people will find them, or contributing to causes without seeking acknowledgement. The key is that there must be no possibility of receiving credit. Practice random acts of kindness with complete anonymity. Hold doors for strangers without expecting thanks. Let others merge in traffic with a smile they cannot see. Pick up litter that no one will know you picked up. These small acts of selfless service train your soul to find satisfaction in the deed itself, rather than in the recognition of the deed. Contribute to causes and communities without revealing your identity. Give money, time, or skills to organizations that matter to you, but do so in a way that brings you no public recognition. This teaches you the difference between serving to be seen and serving to serve. Help others succeed without taking credit. When you have knowledge, connections, or abilities that could benefit someone else, share them freely without expecting acknowledgement. Become a force for good that operates in the shadows, empowering others while remaining invisible yourself. Through this discipline, you transform from self-serving to soul-serving. You develop what the ancients called true compassion, action that flows from genuine care rather than the desire for recognition. You become a secret benefactor of humanity, contributing to the greater good, while building unshakable character within yourself. The fourth pillar is inner dialogue mastery, controlling the conversation with yourself. You are engaged in the most important conversation of your life every moment you are awake, yet most people have never learned to be conscious participants in this dialogue. They allow random thoughts to flow through their minds like leaves blown by the wind, never realizing they have the power to choose what occupies their mental space. Your mind is like a boardroom where you are both the speaker and the listener. Every thought you entertain shapes your reality. Every internal conversation influences your external experience. The person who has mastered inner dialogue has learned to be the conductor of the orchestra of thoughts, bringing harmony to what was once chaos. Most people live at the mercy of their internal commentary. They allow their minds to replay past hurts, rehearse future fears, and generate endless streams of worry, doubt, and criticism. They have never learned that they are not their thoughts. They are the consciousness that observes their thoughts. Begin by observing your inner commentary, without judgment. For 1 week, Simply notice what you say to yourself throughout the day. Are your thoughts supportive or destructive? Do they encourage growth or reinforce limitation? Are they focused on possibilities or problems? This awareness is the first step toward mastery. Replace destructive patterns with constructive ones. When you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk, and consciously choose a more empowering perspective. If you find yourself thinking, "I can't do this," replace it with "I am learning to do." If you notice thoughts of unworthiness, counter them with affirmations of your inherent value and potential. Create empowering affirmations that align with your highest self. These should not be empty positive thinking, but profound truths about your nature and potential. Repeat them not mechanically, but with deep conviction and emotional resonance. Let them become the background music of your consciousness. Practice silent meditation to master the space between thoughts. In the gaps between mental activity, you discover the source of all thoughts, the pure awareness that is your true self. Regular meditation teaches you that you are not the victim of your thoughts, but the master of your mind. Through this practice, you transform from mental chaos to inner authority. You become the conscious creator of your internal experience, which inevitably shapes your external reality. You discover that the quality of your life is determined not by what happens to you, but by how you choose to think about what happens to you. The fifth pillar is solitary discipline, building strength when no one else knows. This is the private gymnasium of character, where integrity is forged in the fires of personal choice. What you do when no external authority is watching reveals the true measure of your strength. It is easy to be disciplined when others are observing, but true power is built in the moments when you are alone with your choices. Consider the blacksmith who forges steel through repeated, solitary strikes. Each blow of the hammer must be precise. Each heating of the metal must be exact. There is no audience for this work, no applause for the countless hours of patient effort. Yet from this hidden labor emerges the strongest metal known to humanity. The modern world has become dependent on external accountability for motivation. People join groups, hire coaches, and seek support systems to maintain their commitments. While these can be helpful, they should not be necessary. The person of true strength keeps promises to themselves with the same vigor they keep promises to others. Choose one challenging discipline and commit to it privately. This might be a daily exercise routine, a study program, a creative practice, or a spiritual discipline. The key is that it must require genuine effort, and no one else needs to know you are doing it. Let this become your secret source of strength. Keep promises to yourself with sacred commitment. When you make an agreement with yourself, honor it as if your life depends on it, because, in truth, it does. Every promise you keep to yourself builds self-trust. Every promise you break erodes your confidence in your own character. Practice delayed gratification in small daily ways. When you want something immediately, wait. When you feel the urge to check your phone, resist. When you crave comfort, choose challenge instead. These small victories over impulse build the spiritual muscle you need for larger challenges. Build physical, mental, and emotional strength through consistent solitary effort. Exercise when you don't feel like it. Study when you'd rather rest. Face your fears when you'd rather hide. This is not punishment, but preparation. You are preparing yourself for the moments when life will demand more of you than you think you can give. Through this discipline, you transform from external dependence to internal strength. You become a person who can be counted on, starting with being someone you can count on. You develop the rare quality of self-reliance that makes you truly free. The sixth pillar is patient cultivation, growing without forcing, timing without rush. This is perhaps the most challenging principle for the modern mind to grasp. We live in an age of instant gratification, where everything is available at the touch of a button. This has created a generation that expects immediate results from every effort, instant rewards from every sacrifice. But the deepest truths of existence operate on natural time, not human time. The oak tree does not worry about its rate of growth. The seasons do not hurry to change. The wise gardener does not pull on the shoots to make them grow fast. There is a rhythm to development that cannot be rushed without destroying the very thing you seek to create. The modern curse of impatience has destroyed more potential than any external obstacle ever could. How many people abandon their dreams because they don't see immediate results? How many give up on relationships because they don't feel instant connection? How many quit their spiritual practice because they don't experience immediate enlightenment? Understand this: everything worthwhile requires time to develop. Character is built day by day. Skill is developed through countless repetitions. Wisdom is accumulated through years of experience. The person who expects quick results will always be disappointed. The person who trusts the process will always be rewarded. Set long-term goals that require sustained effort over months or years. These should be objectives that cannot be achieved through short bursts of activity, but only through consistent daily practice. This teaches you to find satisfaction in the journey rather than just the destination. Focus on process rather than outcomes. Instead of asking how quickly can I achieve this, ask how can I improve my practice today. Instead of measuring progress by external markers, measure it by your consistency and commitment. The outcome will take care of itself if you take care of the process. Celebrate small, consistent improvements. Notice the tiny advances that others might miss. Acknowledge the discipline you showed today, the habit you maintained, the choice you made to keep going when you felt like stopping. These small victories accumulate into large transformations. Learn to find satisfaction in the journey itself. The goal is not separate from the path is the goal. Every day you spend in disciplined practice is a day you spend becoming the person you are meant to be. This is not preparation for life. This is life itself. Through this discipline, you transform from instant gratification to enduring satisfaction. You develop the patience of the ages, the persistence of the elements, and the faith of the farmer who plants seeds, knowing he will not see the harvest for months to come. These 6 pillars, when lived as daily practice rather than occasional technique, create a foundation of strength that can weather any storm. They transform you from a person dependent on external circumstances for happiness to someone who carries their own weather system within. You become a force of nature, operating by natural law rather than social convention. The pillars are not separate practices, but interconnected aspects of a single path. Silent study informs contemplative action. Invisible service purifies inner dialogue. Solitary discipline develops the strength for patient cultivation. They work together to create something greater than the sum of their parts. A human being who has discovered the secret of silent growth. This is the path of the inner master, the way of the secret student, the discipline of the silent warrior. It is not for everyone, but for those who choose it. It offers rewards that cannot be taken away, strength that cannot be defeated, and peace that cannot be disturbed. The choice remains yours. Will you join the ranks of those who build themselves quietly in the sacred silence of their own souls? The principles have been revealed, the pillars have been established, but wisdom without application remains merely philosophy. The transformation you seek will not come from understanding these truths, but from living them. The daily practice of inner transformation is where the rubber meets the road, where theory becomes reality, where potential becomes power. Every great cathedral was built one stone at a time. Every mighty oak grew one ring at a time. Every master achieved their mastery through one day of practice at a time. The extraordinary life you envision for yourself will not materialize through sporadic bursts of effort, but through the sacred discipline of daily practice. The foundation of this practice begins with the sacred hour, the first hour of your day. This is not merely a time management technique, but a spiritual discipline that sets the tone for everything that follows. How you begin your day determines how you live your day. The person who gives their first hour to distraction will spend the rest of their day recovering from that choice. Rise before the world awakens. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the earth itself seems to hold its breath, you can connect with the deepest currents of your being. This is not about becoming an early riser for productivity's sake, but about claiming time that belongs entirely to you, time that cannot be invaded by the demands of others. Begin with silent reflection on the day's intention, not planning, not strategizing, but connecting with the deeper purpose that should guide your actions. Sit in complete silence for 10 minutes and ask yourself, what is trying to emerge through me today? What is the highest use of my time and energy? How can I serve while remaining true to my authentic self? Let this reflection inform your entire morning ritual. Engage in physical movement that aligns body and spirit. This might be stretching, walking, or formal exercise, but whatever you choose, do it with complete presence. Feel your body awakening, your energy rising, your strength building. This is not punishment, but preparation for the day ahead. Feed your mind with reading or study that nourishes your soul. Choose material that challenges your understanding, that stretches your consciousness, that connects you to the timeless wisdom of the ages. Read not for information, but for transformation. Allow the words to settle into your being like seeds in fertile soil. Practice gratitude that shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance. Identify 3 things you are genuinely thankful for, but go beyond surface acknowledgement. Feel the gratitude in your body. Let it warm your heart. Allow it to remind you of the gifts that surround you every moment. This practice programs your mind to notice blessings rather than problems. Through this morning foundation, you become the conscious creator of your day rather than its victim. You start from a place of centeredness rather than reactivity, purpose rather than pressure, abundance rather than anxiety. As the day concludes, another sacred practice awaits, the evening reflection. This is the daily reckoning, where honest self-assessment accelerates growth. Most people end their days in distraction, losing themselves in entertainment, or collapsing into unconsciousness. They miss the profound opportunity to extract wisdom from their experiences. The importance of completion cannot be overstated. Unfinished mental business disrupts your peace, disturbs your sleep, and carries over into the following day. The evening reflection provides closure, allowing you to release what cannot be changed and integrate what has been learned. Review the day's alignment with your highest value. Ask yourself, did I act from my authentic self, or from external pressures? Did I respond to challenges with wisdom, or react from emotion? Did I use my time and energy in service of my highest development? This is not self-judgment, but self-awareness. Identify lessons learned and areas for improvement. Every experience, whether pleasant or challenging, contains wisdom if you are willing to extract it. What did today teach you about yourself? What patterns did you notice? What would you do differently if faced with similar circumstance? Release what cannot be changed. Forgive yourself for mistakes. Forgive others for their limitations, and let go of the day's disappointments. This is not resignation, but wisdom. You cannot change what has already happened, but you can change how you carry it forward. Set intentions for the following day. Not detailed plans, but clear directions for your consciousness. What quality do you want to embody tomorrow? What aspect of yourself you want to develop? What contribution do you want to make? This plants seeds in your subconscious that will influence your choices and actions. Through this practice, you transform each day from a series of random events into a deliberate step on the path of your development. You become a student of your own experience, constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly evolving. The weekly retreat represents the necessity of regular withdrawal from society for deep development. Just as the body needs rest to rebuild itself, the soul needs solitude to renew itself. In our hyper-connected world, this practice has become both more difficult and more essential. The practice of deep listening requires you to turn off the noise of the world and turn up the volume of your inner. In the constant chatter of daily life, you can lose touch with your deeper wisdom. Solitude restores this connection, allowing you to hear what the silence has been trying to tell you. Spend 2 to 3 hours in complete solitude each week. This is not merely being alone, but being alone with purpose. Turn off all devices, remove all distractions, and create a space where you can encounter yourself without masks or pretense. Engage in activities that require focus and presence. This might be reading, writing, walking in nature, or sitting in meditation. The key is that these activities should draw you inward rather than outward, toward contemplation rather than stimulation. Journal about insights and revelations. Write not for others, but for yourself. Explore your thoughts, feelings, and experiences without judgment. Let your pen become a tool of discovery, revealing truths that remain hidden in the busyness of daily life. Plan the integration of new understandings into daily life. The insights you gain in solitude have no value unless they inform your actions. How will you apply what you've learned? What changes will you make? What new practices will you embrace? Through this weekly practice, you maintain your connection to the deeper currents of existence. You prevent the noise of the world from drowning out the of your soul. You ensure that you remain the author of your life rather than a character in someone else's story. The monthly assessment represents the cycles of growth and the necessity of regular evaluation. Just as the seasons change in predictable cycles, your development follows natural rhythms that require periodic review and adjustment. Most people avoid honest self-examination because it requires the courage to face uncomfortable truths about themselves. But this courage is the price of growth. Without periodic assessment, you can spend years moving in circles, repeating the same patterns, making the same mistakes. Review your progress on long-term goals. Are you moving in the direction you intended? Are your daily practices supporting your deeper aspiration? Are you growing in the ways that matter most to you? This is not about perfection, but about direction. Identify patterns that help or hinder your growth. What habits serve you? What behaviors limit you? What thoughts empower you? What beliefs constrain you? This pattern recognition allows you to consciously choose what to cultivate and what to eliminate. Adjust your practices based on what's working. Be willing to modify your approach when results aren't forthcoming. Flexibility is not weakness, but wisdom. The path of growth requires constant course correction based on honest feedback. Celebrate genuine progress while acknowledging areas for improvement. Recognize how far you've come while remaining clear about where you want to go. This balance between satisfaction and aspiration keeps you motivated without becoming complacent. Through this monthly practice, you ensure that your development remains conscious and intentional. You prevent stagnation, maintain momentum, and continue growing throughout your life. Now comes the moment of truth. You have heard the principles, understood the pillars, and learned the practices, but knowledge without application is powerless. Understanding without implementation is empty. The question that remains is not whether these principles work, but whether you will work them. This is the call to uncommon living. In a world where most people live unconsciously, driven by external forces and internal compulsions, you have the opportunity to live consciously, guided by inner wisdom and higher purpose. In a world where most people build their lives on the shifting sands of popular opinion, you can build yours on the solid rock of personal principle. The path of silent growth sets you apart from the masses, but it also sets you free. While others remain slaves to the need for external validation, you can find your strength in the silence of your own soul. While others chase the fleeting satisfaction of immediate gratification, you can discover the lasting fulfillment of patient cultivation. The promise of transformation is not empty rhetoric, but ancient truth. When you commit to building yourself in silence, when you choose the path of inner development over external achievement, when you trust the process of gradual growth over the demand for instant results, you begin to discover capabilities you never knew you possessed. You develop a confidence that needs no external validation because it is rooted in genuine competence. You discover a peace that no external circumstance can disturb because it flows from inner alignment. You find a strength that grows stronger with each passing day because it is built on the unshakable foundation of personal discipline. But none of this happens automatically. It requires the daily choice to turn inward when the world calls you outward, to choose growth when comfort beckons, to embrace challenge when ease seems more attractive. It requires the courage to be misunderstood, the patience to wait for results, and the faith to trust in processes you cannot see. The question before you is the same one that has faced every seeker throughout history. Will you choose the temporary satisfaction of external validation, or the permanent strength that comes from building yourself in silence? Your answer to this question will determine not only who you become, but what you contribute to the world. Those who choose the path of silent growth become the pillars upon which civilization rests. They become the light that guides others through the darkness, the strength that supports the weak, the wisdom that illuminates the path for generations yet to come. The time for decision has arrived. You cannot remain neutral. To delay is to choose. To hesitate is to decide. The practices are before you. The path is clear. The only question is whether you will walk it. Begin today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Begin today with the sacred hour. Begin today with silent study. Begin today with contemplative action. Begin today with invisible service. Begin today with inner dialogue mastery. Begin today with solitary discipline. Begin today with patient cultivation. The seed that grows in darkness produces the strongest tree. Your greatest self awaits in the silence. The cathedral of your character can only be built in the quiet sanctuary of your own soul. Begin today, begin now, begin in silence, for in the end, the world will not remember the noise you made, but the substance you became. It will not recall your words, but your work. It will not measure your volume, but your value. And all of this is built stone by stone, day by day, choice by choice, in the sacred silence where transformation takes root. The silence is calling. Will you answer?